conference will now be recorded.
Hello all, very good evening.
Hey Vishnu.
Hi Vikas. So how was the day, Vikas?
Struggling to create my performance test strategy using
Oh,
JMeter.
okay. Enjoying the
Yeah. Yeah, a bit.
yeah.
Actually, really don't have much experience of web application. Majorly
Mm-hmm.
in the past, what I did, it is all about middleware testing or ERP applications performance testing using LoadRunner.
Okay.
So now the client is asking us to use Lighthouse and JMeter
Yeah.
for end user performance testing. They are recommending to use Lighthouse, and for
Mm-hmm.
end to end, they are asking us to use JMeter. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Lighthouse is
putting
very straightforward only.
yeah,
You
yeah,
mentioned
Lighthouse is
the
fine.
term.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just banging my head over YouTube videos nowadays. How to use Lighthouse, how to use JMeter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's easy only. You can learn quickly.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just in your
Yeah.
शरण हिंदी में कहते हैं ना ये आपकी शरण में आ गया है
नाम भी विष्णु है तो
यार
मैच करता
तभी मैंने शरण
है
शरण वर्ड तभी मैंने यूज किया नारायण भगवान का नाम है आपका तो शरण में ले
uh,
लोगे तो नैया पार हो जाएगी
maybe after that Mahavatar Narsimha movie, no, many are coming into my
हम्म,
Sharan. Lol, kidding.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So today our agenda will be. Yesterday was anyways a demo sort of. So we were trying to understand what the course would be and general things we were speaking. Trying to understand each other. What's the expectation? Setting the expectations, right? All those things. So now today it's a day one. So generally what I do is, since this is an open session, I don't I try to give maximum like a crash, right? During the open sessions. So generally we have after demo one or two open sessions, right? Which is open to all. So I keep it like as a you get a better understanding or the overview of what is coming next, right? Like in a nutshell. And at the same time, we try to see various concepts. So today, how I generally divide my topics are initially there will be a bit of a theory also, right? So which we need to learn when we try starting with the basics of performance testing and all. For those who are very new to performance and all, those who are not new, it will be like a revision for them. Maybe something new they might get from my different case studies and all, right? That they might get. So what I generally do is in the initial sessions when the hands-on and theory goes little hand in hand, first half an hour or 50% of the time I devote to a little bit of theory, understanding more on the concepts and all various because this theory is what will help you in mainly the interview questions and all, right? And also then after that half an hour we focus on the hands-on purely, like on the JMeter, like multiple things that we do, right? Like recording, understanding script, how to enhance your scripts, then parameter correlation and all those stuff, right? Will come in that hands-on section. And also in the theory, if I just say like what all we see, right? We try to understand what's different, like what's performance testing, different types of performance testing, different various architectures, what are the importance of various architectures, why, which are obsolete, which are becoming obsolete, and which is very much in demand in the market. What is overall happening on the infrastructure side, right? Like understanding complex distributed systems, Kubernetes, and also onto the side of what are various tests, what are the objectives of running various tests, what is different components like CDN, load balancer, middleware, then UI interfaces like kiosk, mobile, web applications, right? And also different concepts, cloud concepts like AWS, auto scaling, and what are back end, front end, web server, app server, right? All those things will come in the theoretical section where we will see in detail. Though it will be theoretical thing, I will be making it interesting as much as I can through the drawings and through some good examples, some real life examples and all, so that you don't feel it boring. It will be very interesting to learn all this. Okay, so yeah, that's how the overall our course will proceed for next few days till we are running majorly out of theory, right? And we will be seeing the hands-on. So 50-50 sort of setup we will go, unless one topic needs full focus, right? We will be doing that so that you don't get bored also with lot of theory, and not that you get lot of hands-on to do and you have a lot of backlog to cover up through the recordings, right? So I make sure that doesn't happen, and you get enough time to do the hands-on also. Maybe some Saturdays or Sundays, if you sit also going through the recording, you can finish the hands-ons that we do. And as we proceed, you are also with me, right? In the same pace, at least on a weekly basis. Okay, so today, first we will try to understand the most basics of performance testing on the theory part, and like how a general architecture of a cloud system looks like, and various concepts in that, like encryption, decryption, and all. Okay, today also there's some voice issue.
No, our side there is no issue. I think maybe this side.
Okay,
No, no,
I'm
you are
audible.
quite audible. Yeah, you are quite audible, Vishnu.
It's very good. Voice
Okay,
is
okay.
very good. No.
Yeah, that was sweet. Maybe I
Vish,
should try singing.
Vishnu, just
Okay,
one quick ask that are you
yeah.
covering or do we need to install JMeter if we have to use it?
We will see that. Yeah, we will see that all. Okay, today.
Okay,
Today I
okay,
will show you maybe that point, that part in the hands-on, so that you get started with. Okay.
okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, right. So, and as I said, see, it's a 40-hour course, not a small 1 or 2 or 5 year crash course, right? We have a lot of topics to cover, a lot of things to see. So, maybe you might feel to jump a little. Like, for example, you would have heard a little bit on correlation, parameter, some YouTube videos and all. And you might be little curious to learn that quickly, right? But yeah, the things which I can jump, I will jump and I will give an overview quickly and come back. But few things we cannot jump and skip the fundamentals, right? Before we go to that. So those things, that's why I shared one Excel sheet in which you can park your queries which you are very curious about, or as you go through the recordings and all, you get the queries, just drop it there, park it there. Okay, and there I keep adding or updating the columns when it will be, by when it will be cleared, right? By after five sessions or 4 sessions, so that you are aware that okay, this will get cleared in the next 4 sessions or 3 sessions, or even maybe tomorrow also, right? So yeah, so that's the thing. So some things I might park it, your queries which are little high jump, as I said, which is coming after maybe few sessions, because we need a continuity. But most of the things I'll try to quickly answer also, though it's a high jump, so that you get going with what you are doing. Okay, so yeah, that's just a thing I wanted to point out. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. So when we say performance testing, okay, now are you all aware what is the difference between a functional testing and a non-functional testing? Anyone? And whenever I ask some questions, please try to answer. It will be like a playground for you to answer your interview questions and all. Okay, because here everyone is anyways like we are all here to just learn. Okay, so no one will judge you whether it's wrong, right, and all. So feel free to use it as a playground to speak up. Okay, you, because in interview that's the main skill you need, right? You need to be very extrovert, right? Not too much silent. Yeah. So, what's the difference between a functional testing and a non-functional testing?
Functional testing is something where we test if the functionality is working fine or not. Like, let us suppose the login functionality, we'll just see if login is working or not if we give the username and password.
Okay. Hmm.
And
And non-functional?
it's like testing the backend process, maybe? Like what happens
Non-functional,
when,
non-functional is not required for functional testing. Just we are checking the response time. That's it.
Okay, so I say accessibility is also non-functional testing. Security is also non-functional testing.
But here we are not checking the functionality, right? Only for we are measure that response time. So functional is working or not, we not
So
find out
response
anything.
time is performance testing. Okay. What about security, accessibility? Those are also non-functional.
but security we will test based on for the access also, right? Like if somebody is not supposed to access, they're accessing, that is
Hmm.
also kind of security testing, right? There also
Yes.
we are
So
testing the functionality.
correct. So that is where, see, in functional testing, our focus is mainly what the system does, like the features and behaviors, right? Uh, so the main goal of doing functional testing is ensuring that your system is working as intended, right? Like as we are intending, okay, it should work. Like for example, unit testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing, UAT. All these are functional testing. Okay, so as you called out, right? Whether login is working with valid and invalid inputs, because sometimes in the login they will keep capital letters of the in the username should is not available, not possible. But so in some applications you will see that it will accept small case, uppercase, both, and it will take the username properly, right? So such things and all will come in the functional testing. But in the non-functional testing, our main focus is how the system works. So it's not what the system does, right? So in functional testing, our main goal is what the system does. This is the question that we are asking, okay? Like the features and behaviors, right? For example. But in the non-functional testing, we call it NFT, what our focus is how the system works. Like for example the quality attributes, right? For example like performance, usability, reliability, security, scalability, all these will come in the non-functional testing, right? So the goal of non-functional testing is it's ensuring that the system will meet the standards, right? And that quality expectations, what is expected to be, right? So that is the main goal of having an overall the non-functional testing. And what that's the difference between a functional testing and a non-functional testing. Okay, so examples, as you said, login, payment, and all those crude operations, right? We call it those all will come in the functional testing. Load time, scalability, usability, then the resilience, all this will come in the non-functional testing. So basically together both of this will ensure that the product is not only it's working like correctly, okay, but also it's usable, right? It's usable, reliable, and also it's performing well, right? So that's the focus. So uh, basically it's not only correct but also it's good in using. That's what the accessibility, right? Reliability, then whether it's performing well, that's performance, right? High performing. So yeah, that's how the functional testing and non-functional testing generally you can differentiate. Okay, now coming to, so our performance testing falls under NFT, okay, non-functional testing, because you know now already why, right? Performance testing, if we speak about, generally, if we go with the definition, there are two things that people speak, or like when we speak about performance testing, these are the two words generally come across. Okay, one is load, second is stability. Okay, so performance testing, generally you can put it into these two words: whether your application is stable and whether your application is able to take the load properly under the provided limits, right? And we call those limit SLAs. We will see that later. We call it the service level agreements. Okay, and the most important generally the SLAs that we get is throughput and response time. That we will see. Okay, what they are. in the upcoming theoretical sections. Okay, so performance testing focuses on load and stability. And what do we mean by load and what do we mean by stability of a system, that we will see soon. Okay. Okay. Now, before I jump deeper into performance testing, how many of you are aware of various types of performance test generally we do? Can you call out few if someone?
Peak load test, stress load test, soak load
Mhm.
test, or endurance test. Spike test, scalability test.
Exactly, right? So there are various types of tests that we execute in performance testing based on the objective that we have. Okay, so the most common ones generally that you find is load test, which is the most common. Every performance test will have a load test. Okay, then spike test, then we have endurance test, and then we have the stress test. So these four are very common. Then we have volume test and soak test and all. But these four are the most common performance tests that you find in most of the web applications. Okay. So if you take any web application, these are the four most common ones that you will see. Load test is always there. It's not like a common one. It's always there. Okay. And spike test, if you see from the name itself, can someone say which type of applications you might be using spike test for from the name?
Booking site.
Booking site, okay. OTT, OTT, I will not say, but yeah, maybe some new releases and all. But
Any
booking site is,
any
yeah.
any e-commerce site, because during
Mm-hmm.
any festival seasons that the spike goes high.
Correct.
So
Yes. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone?
Even banking sites also, right?
Banking sites, we will see soon. Why it might be a rare scenario. Now let's okay. Now let's try to understand. Before I go into load test, which is the most common test, I will go to the spike test. Okay, which is an interesting test. See, now each of the tests that we are seeing here, right, have a different objective, and the spike test objective is to understand a specific behavior. Okay, let's try to understand that. So let's say I am plotting a graph. Okay, users versus time. So let's say time is 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. Okay, and at 5 p.m., let's say the user count is 10 users. So currently 10 users are using my application. 10 users. Okay, and 5:30 p.m., let's say it's again around somewhere around 10, 12, 15. Okay, not much, something around 15 or that range. And at 6 p.m., I see that suddenly the user count becomes, let's say, some 100. Okay. Then let's say again it drops to, let's say here 15, 13, 10. Okay, like that. So let's say I plot the graph. Okay, so let's say the graph is something like this, the user to time graph. Okay, now let's say this is an application Amazon.com that I am trying to, or I am trying to observe the behavior. Okay, in my monitoring tool, I am seeing this graph. Okay, this type of graph. Can someone say what might be happening at let's say 6 p.m.? Suddenly the user count has increased in Amazon.com.
they put have sale
Exactly, right.
for that particular window.
There might be, let's say, flash sale for iPhone 17 Pro. So maybe everybody's behind that. Okay, let's they're jumping into the application. Okay, so suddenly the user has shot up. Okay, and after some time it has come down, because after the flash sale 5 minutes or something, obviously the sale has ended, right? All the maybe the devices have completed and people are not able to order further, right? So they leave. So this sort of scenario, right, where sudden jump is there, basically we call this a spike. So in a graph, when you see this sudden change, right, sudden variation in the graph, we call it spike. That's why now if I want to simulate the same behavior in my performance testing, so this is what I'm observing in the real application. Now if I want to simulate the same thing using JMeter or using performance testing, we call it spike test. Okay, so what we do, we run a test, we give a constant number of users, and at some point of time we will suddenly jump the number of users to 100, okay, and bring it down to 10 using JMeter tool, and we will try to observe how my application is behaving when that sudden spike is happening. Okay, now uh, can someone answer this question? Okay, will the application behavior be same for A and B? Okay, so 100 user. If you see 100 user, the graph is something like this. So my load is always 100, let's say. Okay, and spike is like this. Will A and B be same behavior?
No.
Exactly, it won't be. Okay, it is more sort of let's say I am constantly pushing someone. Okay, I'm just pushing someone constantly at the same force. He will put a opposite force, okay, to stop that constantly, right? So he's able to take it. But what if you are just speaking to some one of your friend and suddenly one person comes from backside and pushes you? You won't be able to put an opposite force very quickly, right? You will get pushed in front of you, right? So that sort of behavior, you will see the difference between both of this. Though the number of users are same in both the cases, but this is sudden. When something happens suddenly, the behavior is totally different of your application, right? So that difference to study, we run spike test, and this type of test we call it load test, where we keep the load constant for a specific amount of time, let's say 1 hour and all, and you constantly see, okay, if the number of users is 100 for constantly 1 hour and all, how my application behaves, right? That we try to understand in the load test. So load test is mainly to certify the SLA. Okay, again I'm calling out SLA, service level agreement. We'll see, okay, what it is now. But spike test has a totally different objective. Now, what are the problems that you might discover in spike test? To call out very quickly, auto scaling issues. Okay, so especially when you have a cloud system, you will find auto scaling issues. Now, what is auto scaling? We will see in the upcoming sessions. But for now, what is auto scaling is, let's say uh, I have 100 users who are using my application, and that requires, let's say, one CPU. And for 500 users, I need 5 CPU. Need more resource, right, to get that much users using my application. But when my application jumps from 100 to 500 in 1 second, so what happens in auto scaling? No, okay, coming to that. So what is auto scaling? Auto scaling is automatically in cloud. No, my CPU count will go from one CPU to 5 CPU. So that is auto scaling in a very simple way. I'm saying, okay, we'll see it in detail. There are various types of auto scaling: horizontal auto scaling, vertical auto scaling, horizontal pod auto scaling, vertical pod auto scaling, and many things. Okay, but for now, so the CPU count will increase from one CPU to 5 CPU based on the number of users automatically. But what happens now? Number of users going from 100 to 500 is in 1 second. But my auto scaling going from one CPU to 5 CPU won't be 1 second. It might be somewhere around, let's say, 60 seconds. So what will happen is, my users is 500 users, but still my CPU might be somewhere around 2 CPU or 3 CPU. So what will happen? Now the load is high and my application will fail, because it needed 5 CPU, but it has only 3 CPUs to handle 500 users. So this happens in spike test, but in load test that won't happen, because in load test you increase the number of users slowly. So from 1 to 100, it will go, let's say, in 5 minutes. So auto scaling also has time to go from 1 CPU to 5 CPU. Getting all of you what I'm trying to say?
Vishnu, can I
Yeah, go ahead. Someone was asking some question, right?
question?
Sorry, voice is breaking. Any issue
Yeah.
from my end?
Hello. Or
Vikas, yeah.
no, it could be from my end only, Vishnu.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Vikas.
Vishnu,
So,
actually, auto scaling feature come mostly onto the cloud applications, cloud hosted applications, correct? Where
which one?
we get some sort of subscription.
Hmm.
Auto scaling feature.
Okay, you are saying will it be only for cloud? Is it
Yeah, yeah.
auto scaling? No, auto scaling you will find in Kubernetes
Ye-
cluster also, but Kubernetes cluster won't run in cloud. It can run in on premise also. It can. Okay. But yes, the system scaling that you're seeing, the CPUs, the nodes, will be there only in cloud generally. I'm audible to all. I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, Vishnu, you're audible.
Yes.
Okay. Any network issue? No, right?
No, no, your voice is clear and
No, your
audible.
yeah, your voice
Okay.
is clear.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Okay, right. So don't worry. Okay, I know many of you will have a lot of questions from auto scaling. We have a specific time period where we will see all these concepts. Okay, so that time now we are focusing on various tests and all. So that's why I'm not going in depth, because this will come in the when we try to understand various bottlenecks and all. No? So auto scaling is for now. It will go from 1 CPU to 5 CPU, right? Let's say, and generally it will be we will observe this in the cloud only, because we will discuss cloud also. That time it will be more clear. Yeah, so this sort of behavior you will see only in spike test, right? You won't see it in load test. So that's why we run a spike test. Now see, similar to this, now there are some things which you cannot see from these two tests. For example, when I speak about endurance test, or okay, before endurance, let me speak about the stress test. So what is the difference between stress test and the load test and spike test? Okay, so let me plot the graph for stress test. So what will happen in the stress test? Again, users, time. Okay, so in the stress test, what I will do is I will constantly keep increasing the number of users, and at one point of time my application will fail. Okay, so the number of users, so let's say in the load test we ran with 100 users. Okay, that was our load test. Stress test might go to some 1,000 users. Again, this is just a rule of thumb I'm saying, not always 100 into 10 and all. It will go till some 1,000 users. Let's say I'm going, so every step I'm adding 100, 100, 100, 100, 200, 500, 700, 800. So at let's say 1,000 users, what I will see is suddenly my application will throwing lot of errors, like above 10 percentage errors you will see. Okay, so 10 percentage, only 90% transactions will pass, or 10 percentage will fail. And that situation we will stop that stress test, and this is the maximum stress that my application can take. So load test is basically, okay, I ran for 100 users and I certified that for 100 users there won't be any issue. But stress test is in case user count increases above 100, okay, how my system will behave and how much it can take maximum before failing too much. Okay, so the difference in the load test and stress test is, in load test what you will observe is your number of users and response time will be under it has to be under a limit. So this is already what your client or the customer needs, right? It will be under that. But in stress test, you don't worry about response time. Response time will surely increase, right? As the number of user increase, response time will surely increase, but you are more worried about how much maximum number of users my application can take. But in load test, both of this, 1 and 2, both these things are predefined. It is given to you by the customer and you have to satisfy that. So for 100 user, my response time should be under 5 seconds. So this is already given to you, okay, in your test planning and all. You plan that automatically. But in stress test, you won't get anything, even maximum number of users or the response time. You have to find it out from the test and you have to give it to the customer. This is what the numbers are. Maximum number of user, we could go till 1000 users, and response time short to 50 seconds, but let's say at 1000 users, right? So that is the point of doing a stress test, the maximum your application can take to find out that. Okay, so that's the logic behind doing a stress test. Now again, the last one is the endurance test we run. Okay, so endurance test is generally run after we run all the different types of test: spike test, load test, then our stress test, then comes our endurance test. Okay, so in endurance test, what happens is, um, let's say I have a rubber band, okay, and I'm pulling it from both ends, and I'm keeping at this, let's say it's 10 centimeter, okay. I pulled it to 10 centimeter and I'm keeping it for 1 minute and I'm leaving, okay. Now same thing, I'm pulling to 10 centimeter and I'm keeping it for let's say 3 hours and then leaving. Will both be same? The situation of rubber band in both the cases after I leave?
No, it will loosen
Correct,
after
right?
years.
This would have loosened, and this will be still okay, like there won't be any problem. Now in rubber band, it is very easily visible, or it becomes like it's faster, right? But the same behavior you will observe in applications also. After it runs for a long duration, no, the failures start. It won't get caught initially, but it will come later. Okay, so to catch such issues which come after some long period of time, we do a endurance test. So how do we do that? We run again a test, again number of users, time, and load test. Let's say we did with 100 users. Okay, endurance test we generally run with somewhere around 50 users, not 100 users. Load test is 100 users, but endurance test we will run with 50 users, and we will run. But the difference is we will run it for a long duration, somewhere around minimum 12 hours to 48 hours. We will continuously run the test. We will keep the test and go, right? It will be running. You will set up the alerts and also that if something goes wrong, you will get the alert. Otherwise, it keeps running, right? So when this happens, the major objective is to find out issues which can creep into your application due to the long run, right? So, for example, one of those is called memory leaks. Anyone heard about this word before? Memory leaks? Anyone heard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Any performance engineer here? Okay. So memory leaks, let me explain you. Okay. We will see it in detail when we go to different types of bottlenecks and all, but quickly let me explain. See what happens now. We have the RAM memory, right? Every system has RAM memory. Now, when I run an application, the objects of the application or classes of the application get stored in the RAM. Okay, so what do I mean by objects? If you remember your old school, right? When you learned C++ and all, so you would have heard like object-oriented programming language is C++ compared to C, right? Java, C++, all these languages are object-oriented. Okay, they have objects. So do you remember like when we used to when we learned coding maybe sometimes back, right? That time we learned about objects and classes. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those objects, see, when your program is running, right, those objects are actually created and stored in RAM. So for example, let's say one object, something, okay, in from my code I'm running, it's run in the backend. Okay, when that object is created, it will get stored in the RAM. Now once the program work is done, okay, ideally that object should get cleared from RAM, right, because the work of that object is done. Again, when new work will come, it will get created and it will get cleared from the RAM. This should happen continuously. So how your RAM memory graph will look like, no, in that case we call it the heap graph. It will look something like this, ideally. Okay, ideally it will look something like this. Okay, and this we call it the let's say somewhere here we call it the maximum heap size. Let's say it is 1 GB, and this is your RAM memory. Okay, I'm plotting with the time. So again, 5 p.m., 10 p.m., 6 p.m., 10 p.m. Okay, something like that. So this is my maximum which my RAM can go or objects can use. Okay, you can just say like that. The maximum heap size, and my graph of the memory graph will look something like this, okay, with time. And this is basically where the objects are getting created, and this is where all are getting cleared at once, getting cleared. That's why the memory is coming back, right? And this we call it actually GC, garbage collection. Where there are various types of GCs. Just for now, understand this is where the objects are getting cleared, and that process is called garbage collection. Okay, and these are where the objects are getting created based on how your program is running, right? More programs, more threads, more objects, right? Now this is one ideal case. This is how your application should be. Okay, but some applications you will see the graph something like this. I'm drawing it with red. Can someone say what is the problem with this red application graph?
Memory is not getting freed up. It's getting.
Exactly, right? So this, understand this peak. Peak is constantly increasing with time. That means the memory getting freed, something is remaining back. It's not getting freed fully, right? Some objects are due to some deadlocks, or your garbage collector is thinking that still that object is getting used, so it's not clearing it, right? Something is happening. That's why the peak is shifting continuously. That, and after some time it's crossing my maximum, and when it crosses maximum, actually my application crashes. That's what happens. Okay, so this type of behavior, now this you won't see it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes and all. Okay, it will be across like maybe 10 hours, or when you run it for 20 hours, you will see this behavior clearly, right? So that is why we run a endurance test and try to monitor this graph in Grafana or AppDynamics, and we find out whether there is a memory leak, and this behavior we call it memory leak.
I have one question over here. So
Yeah.
the frequency of garbage collection should be on higher side or onto the lower side?
Elaborate your question. So what do you mean by higher and lower?
Actually, in
Elaborate.
in in one of the interviews or discussion, actually they were
Mhm.
asking that for memory leakages, if memory is not getting freed up,
Mhm.
and you are talking about garbage collection, so
Yeah.
the garbage collection should happen very frequently, or with some time interval? So actually, I didn't
Obviously,
capture that
obviously,
question.
right. Obviously, it should be with it will be with a time interval only. And generally, the garbage collection interval, which is very optimum, right? It is all based on your application, right? That is why you are running the endurance test. Now, from the endurance test, if you see that there is some problem, you tweak that value, that interval. Okay. Now, to say a rule of thumb, like what should be the garbage collection interval, which is very optimum. See, in the garbage collection also there are various types of garbage collectors, right? Based on what you use, right? Different types of garbage collections are there, and we cannot say like a standard rate and all. Okay, like how much time we should give, but generally it is 5 to 15% of the um, your garbage collection CPU you need to observe. Okay, your CPU should be below 5 to 15 percentage when you do that garbage collection.
So it is actually linked with CPU utilization.
Correct. Yes, because when this garbage collection runs, right, it is little CPU intensive operation. Okay, so that
Okay.
garbage collection process also will use your server CPU, right? So your
Mm-hmm.
garbage collection should not interfere with your application resources, right? Too much. Are you
Got it.
getting my
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that is the main thing you try to observe, and you keep the intervals in such a way that too much CPU is not getting consumed. 5 to 15% it should be under.
Okay,
We
okay.
call it the GC CPU max. And generally there will be something called SLO, service level objective we call it, and max, and we have something called max acceptable pause for any GC. Okay, we call it max acceptable pause, right? And that is basically where you define that time frame.
Okay.
Yeah. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is CPU is your, uh, I mean, like
CPU
usage
utilization should remain, I mean, under 20%.
under
Correct.
15 percentage. So for example, let's say your CPU is currently at 30%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when the GC is happening, you can see in the graph, no? GC is happening. So
Mm-hmm.
that time it should not go beyond 50 percentage,
Okay.
your CPU. So 30 to
Yeah,
50, right? Yeah.
Vikas and Vishnu, I would like to elaborate few things here.
Right.
As Vikas said, yeah,
Right.
Vikas here in garbage collection, there are types as mentioned by Vishnu, like a serial, parallel, like that. Based on the type of garbage collector which you are using, that makes impact here. For
Exactly.
example, so there is a one first floor and 10th floor. If you want to go for the first floor, you will go by walk. Okay, you can climb the
Yeah.
steps, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
you want to go by the 10th floor, you cannot go by the steps using the steps.
Steps.
You
Yeah.
will use the lift. Okay, the
Mm-hmm.
same factor in garbage collection also it's happened like that only based on the collector which you are using. So
Okay.
as Vishnu said is correct. There are types of garbage collector is there. Based on that
Yeah.
mechanism, it will
So when you
automatically collect the garbage.
So when
Okay.
you get a question
Yeah,
like that,
thanks.
right? Because in an interview
Yeah.
or anywhere, you can just call out what I said, right? Like there's not a standard value, right, which you can define,
Mm-hmm.
but you can just say like the various types of garbage collectors and how it impacts your CPU utilization. Based on that, you come with a proper interval. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, right. So that's how the endurance test works. Okay, you run it for a long duration, and one of the bottlenecks that you see is memory leak. And whenever I say one of the bottlenecks, right, it's not always memory leak. It can be some other issues also, which you can easily identify from the graphs and all, right? Like that we will see when we go to analysis, reporting sections and all. Uh, so these are just an example I'm giving where we main objectives lie in, right? There are many others also which you can come up with, the problems that you can discover from your test. So yeah, so these are the four important types of test that we generally do in performance testing. That is load, spike, stress, and endurance. Okay. Now there are volume tests. You push a lot of heavy volume of data generally to understand how your disk and how your network bandwidth and all will get affected. but that's little rare. We call it volume testing, where we push high amount of data, right? GB, or you can say. So that's more sort of volume test. You also do volume test sort of things. You can call it loadly again, with the DB and all. It's not that always you will hit your application. Even you will do load test and load test on your SQL queries and all, right? You constantly put load on your query, right? And you on your DB, right? And you see how your DB is able to take that much load or not, right? Oh, in all the situations, you can use these types of tests. Okay, right. So those are the different types of performances. Now I am from here we will move on to different architecture concepts. Okay, before I come back again to performance testing, in the architecture concepts we will see what is CDN, what is load balancer, different tiers of architecture, uh, and then middleware. Then we'll understand what's cloud, and we'll try to understand backend, front end. Then what do we mean by various cloud concepts, right? Like what really the cloud is, like encryption, decryption, then caching, cookies, all these things we will see soon. Okay, when we understand the various architecture, and from there basically we will reach the point where we'll try to understand requests, APIs, distributed systems, microservices. Okay, and that way we will be proceeding further. Okay, with the theoretical part. Now let me jump quickly onto JMeter, promised. Like we need to see how we install JMeter, right? Very quickly.
Uh,
So let's
yeah,
try to see.
just one. Sorry,
Sure,
Vishnu.
sure.
So you will
Yeah,
be covering all these topics which you have just listed down, because I'm
correct.
totally
Yes.
new to all these things.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yeah. Because these are the topics which is like, what I can say is uh, important things that you should know for attending any interview nowadays. Because these are like a
Yeah,
very general topics now. Okay, no more
yeah.
it's old or niche. It's very common.
Mm,
Okay, yeah,
okay. Okay.
yes. Okay, and it's very easy also. When we learn, you will get an idea like these are all just piece of cake, right? It's very easy to
Okay.
understand what these are, what's the purpose of using these things. Because
Mm,
whenever you attend an interview, your main question will revolve around performance testing and the JMeter tool or whatever tool you are doing. But these questions might be a small section, right? They might just ask you, do you know CDN? Have you worked on a CDN? What's a load balancer? So you should need to answer in one or two lines, right? And that is what is very important. Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
Actually, I was appearing today only in one of the interview,
Okay.
and they were like, "What is CDN?" I was totally blank.
Yeah. No, no issues. Maybe you missed two sessions here. You would have answered that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, okay. Right. So let me answer some chat. Some few people have asked some queries. I'm seeing it now. So Nishant has asked, is heap size the RAM size? Can't say, not exactly. Heap size is just like, see, in the RAM also there are various heaps and all. Okay, RAM has a different type of architecture, you can say. Inside RAM there is an architecture. So heap, yes, you can say, because an application maximum how much it can use from the RAM, because your system also needs some memory and all, right? It's not only your applications that are running. So heap is one part of it. So you allocate, okay, this much can be used by my applications, that maximum heap. If it goes beyond that, automatically your application will crash, so that your system won't crash. Okay, so take it that way. So
Vishnu, you are speaking something?
Your voice is not audible, Vishnu. Hello?
Yeah, Vishnu, you are not audible.
am I audible again?
Yeah, now you're
Yeah, yeah.
audible.
Okay, okay, yeah. So as I said, yeah, graph analysis we will surely see, Karthik, when we go to Grafana, Prometheus, AppDynamics, and all. And it is very simple, like how a doctor sees an ECG, right? If the same ECG you see, you will find out there's no problem, it's all same. But doctor sees it and says, oh, you have some heart issue, you have to eat some tablet, right? So that same way. So there are some patterns you need to observe in the graph, some things you need to observe in the graph, which can give the problem in your application, right? That we will understand. We will see various different graphs and all when we go to monitoring and reporting section. Okay. Yeah. And next question Karthik has asked is mandatory to conduct performance testing on all kind of softwares? Can't say all, but generally nowadays, due to the population, it's all there. But yeah, it's all on the load, right? If you are using some admin application where users are not changing and you feel it will be like low number of users, 10, 20, and it's not very unstable also because the number of users is always same admin application. Like, so let's say some place where always 2, 3, maybe some accounting software, right? Where always 2, 3 accountants are logging in and doing some activity, right? In those cases, maybe performance testing is not needed. So wherever there is a load impact, right, where the users are increasing, decreasing, stability might get affected, or a lot of some high volume data is getting processed, and all those, performance testing is needed. So generally, 90% of your applications or 80% of your applications, generally you might do performance testing. Okay, and yeah, again, it's all on the load, right? Which application you are. Then now Anil, going to Anil's question, what things you keep in mind when you are performing load testing? Okay. So when we go to in depth and when we run this type of test in JMeter, no, in our course, that time I will explain this question. Okay. What things must be asked from the client before? Okay. This also we will see when we understand test planning. Okay. And Vikas is a correct person now to answer this. He's working on the strategy. So he will be doing a lot
It's
of
a,
things now. Yeah. So, but there is a standard questionnaire which I can share
yeah,
with all of you. Okay.
correct.
You can ask to the client. Yeah. Okay.
Vishnu,
So,
what is K6? Because I'm hearing a lot of good things about K6. Is it a
mhm.
tool or what it is?
So see, K6 is basically it is more sort of performance testing tool only, load testing, and it's
Okay.
open source again like JMeter. But the difference is it is built more for DevOps and CI/CD.
Oh, okay. Got
Okay,
it.
and you have to script in JavaScript. So and some not very straight, but yeah, people are trying to adopt it. Okay, but there you have to write a script and all a JavaScript.
Ah,
Not that
okay.
easy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, right. So yes, let me jump quickly into JMeter.
What about Gatling, Vishnu?
Yeah, Gatling is also a tool. It is also nowadays getting hold of the market. Good tool, but nothing closer to JMeter or LoadRunner, right? In as per the market size, it's just holding, and it's again an open source tool only, performance testing tool, mainly used for web applications and APIs. Okay. There also you need to write a Gatling script. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's almost 10 today. Because is it okay I show you JMeter installation, etc. tomorrow, or
I-
do we need to continue for a few minutes?
If you
What
feel it is going to take longer
how many
time,
of you
then we may.
how many of you are okay if I take 10-15 minutes more? Just raise your hand. If I have 50% plus hands, then I will take 10-15 minutes and show quickly how to install JMeter, okay, and get it running. Okay, looks like not enough hands because so we will take it up tomorrow if it's
No
okay.
problem. That's
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can take some questions now. Okay, so there is 3 minutes still. I can take some questions from what we saw till now. Tomorrow, as soon as we get into the session, we will get into JMeter. Okay, we will try to install it. We will do the preliminary setup, how to do the JMeter setup, and quickly we will run a test also. Okay,
Yes,
to
yes.
get an
Please show.
understanding how we run it. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I am really looking to see that how to run
Sure.
load test or using
Sure.
JMeter.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, anyone from different types of tests, performance testing? And now tomorrow I will also come to a point. What is this load and stability? Okay, still we have not completed the answer to that. Okay, that is where throughput and response time will clearly be visible to you. Okay, what's the importance of that? And we will see that. Okay. Yeah, and it will be really interesting. I have one interesting story, okay, which will come when I'm explaining encryption and decryption. Okay, it's a very beautiful story. Okay, many people like it. Okay, it's like a puzzle. Okay, and let's see like who will be able to answer that puzzle when we see that encryption decryption. Because through that puzzle, you will also learn how that real this encryption decryption works in generally any application. Okay, so stay tuned for that also. Such stories, yeah, it will be really interesting. Okay, so okay, let's if no questions, any questions? Tirupati, Ganga, anyone?
No.
No, once
Okay,
we move further, no, so we may have few questions, Vishnu. Not
yeah,
at this
I
moment.
think Ganga will ask question only when we reach WebSocket, is it?
No, it's not like that.
Yeah,
Definitely, every day I will
yeah.
shoot some questions.
Sure, yeah. And thank you
And
for
see,
jumping in to answer the question because all of you can jump in. Okay, if you have some extra things to add to any point, it's all a knowledge, right? We are sharing here. So
exactly. So
please, yeah,
Vishnu, that is my promise. Whoever in the call or whoever in the this entire session, no. So I will make sure that everybody will be in the same page. Whatever the knowledge I have, I'm trying to share with those people also. It is good for
yes,
everybody.
yes,
Okay,
very
that
good.
is what I brought everybody in the same page actually.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
And I do not want to disturb in between also. I'll ask end of the session. If it is needed in between I'll disturb, otherwise no. At end only I will ask
Yeah,
all the questions in one go.
yeah, love it. Yeah, do that. Yeah, because that's the only thing. If like that continuity, if it is there, feel free to drop in whatever you have to. Okay.
I'll make a note and I will shoot at end every
Sure.
day.
Yes,
That
yeah,
is
yeah.
my habit actually. Every day also.
Sure. Prashan has one question. What we cover load testing to LoadRunner we don't cover. Okay, it's only JMeter here. We are covering LoadRunner, NeoLoad. No, we are not covering. Performance monitoring tool, AppDynamics we are covering. Not Dynatrace and Kibana. Kibana maybe I can give a quick overview of some material. Actually, it's very easy to learn. Okay, so that's why I can share that. But in this course, we are seeing only AppDynamics. Okay, and Gatling, no, we are not seeing. BlazeMeter plugin we will use and not a BlazeMeter tool. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. So if I learn JMeter tool is helped in to learn another tools, yes, obviously. Okay. Because one performance testing tool will help you to learn other tools also easily. NeoLoad is very close to JMeter. Actually, if you start using NeoLoad, you will after you learn JMeter, you will feel that it is very like a child LoadRunner and JMeter child NeoLoad is. Okay. So yeah, it will help. Okay, yeah, then let's stop it here for today. And thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful day and good night.
Yep.
Thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
Vishnu.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.